to business. We're going to get the latest business news. The US banking sector continues to be under pressure after Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank last month. First Republic Bank last week. Yet another US lender is now on the brink of collapse. Charles going to tell us all about it, Charles.
That's right, Stuart. The bank is a PacWest, or Pacific Western Bank, yet another regional lender based in California. According to reports, it is now looking for a financial lifeline, having instructed an investment bank to help it explore strategic options, including a sale. Now, no sale process has been initiated yet, and the company is also thinking about raising new capital. It had already raised close to $1.5 billion in liquidity in March. The crisis is the worst in the sector since the global financial crisis of 2008. PacWest has been in investors' crosshairs because of its similarities with Silicon Valley Bank, like its ties to the tech community, the amount of uninsured deposits it has, and paper losses on its securities portfolio because of the rise in interest rates. It's also lost $5 billion in deposit outflows in the first quarter of the year. All of this has led to the bank losing over 50% in after-hours trading on Wednesday on Wall Street. For Jerry Parwada of the University of New South Wales, this movement on the markets is more the result of panic than the result of bad fundamentals.
We have market fundamentals that are suggesting that the authorities are doing what they can to keep order in the markets, and indeed, when you look at the actual financials of some of the financial institutions that are being talked about, they are okay. But you cannot control human psychology and its interaction with markets. So mistrust comes in and depositors freak out. Those things will happen.
And the banking crisis is tied to the changes in monetary policy we've seen in the last year. The Federal Reserve in the United States delivered what many are convinced could be the last rate hike of this tightening cycle on Wednesday night. It signaled it could pause future increases in order to assess the aftermath of those bank failures and monitor inflation as well, the main reason that interest rates have been hiked. And later this Thursday, the European Central Bank will announce its rate decision as well. A rate hike is expected either of 25 or 50 basis points. The likelihood of a pause after that is lower, with inflation in the Eurozone at 7% and officials saying the banking crisis is specific to the U.S. The ECB, as you can see here, started raising rates again in the summer of 2022 and has done so 6 consecutive times, reversing a previous policy of quantitative easing with negative rates here, minus 0.50, meant to stimulate economic activity and actually fight off the risk of deflation. Well, the move was decided on in the wake of the invasion of Ukraine, a contributing factor to global inflation because of its impact on energy and food prices. Well, let's see how markets are doing this hour. European markets opening lower as investors digest the Fed's rate decision and await the one of the ECB later today, when the Paris CAC 40 down 1/3%. The FTSE in London and the DAX in Frankfurt down 0.2%. And we're seeing mixed trading in Asia at the close, except for the Hang Seng not quite closed yet. The Shanghai Composite climbing higher, even as China's factory activity contracted for the first time in 3 months. Well, next, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission has unveiled a proposal that would bar social media giant Meta from profiting off the personal data collected from child users. The FTC accusing Facebook and Instagram's parent company of repeated violations of data privacy policies. U.S. lawmakers, meanwhile, have introduced legislation that would block children under 12 from using social media altogether. Brian Quinn has details.
A showdown over social media for kids, as the U.S. Federal Trade Commission accuses Meta, parent company of Facebook and Instagram, of misusing the personal data of its youngest users.
Facebook has repeatedly violated its privacy promises. The company's recklessness has put young users at risk, and Facebook needs to answer for its failures.
In 2019, Facebook agreed to pay a $5 billion civil penalty over data privacy practices in the wake of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The FTC, though, says the company has not lived up to its commitments in that settlement, alleging that children under 13 are still able to chat with parentally unapproved contacts and that the company is still passing private data to unused third-party apps. Its proposed sanctions include a total ban on Meta monetizing the data of under 18s, a pause on the launch of new products pending compliance review, and limits on the use of facial recognition technology. Meanwhile, a bipartisan group of U.S. senators is calling for a total ban on social media for kids 12 and under.
The technology industry is going to find all sorts of innovative ways to try to squash this bill because, this is their profit center, our kids, and promoting really dangerous content often to our kids.
Meta says the FTC's latest move is a political stunt, accusing the regulator of overstepping its authority. The company has 30 days to formally respond.
That's it for the business news, Stuart.
Thanks very much, Charles. Charles with business.